Hey everybody, thanks for hanging out with me today. So to start off, at the very first learning with everyone, what I'd like to do is just start at the very beginning, and we're going to go ahead and go through just Common Core standards from beginning to end. So if you have any skills or anything that maybe anyone is missing, any gaps, right? And I know that starting at the very beginning seems very elementary, but there are always people that are missing little bitty gaps, little bitty holes here and there, or sometimes it's just nice to get a refresher or be reminded of, these things that maybe we haven't talked about in a long time. Or maybe you know somebody who's struggling with this topic and you want to show it to them. Anyway, so what I'd like to just begin with is the very, very beginning of standards. And the first thing we're going to do, we need to focus on knowing our number names, and we need to know our counting sequence. This would be really useful if, for example, maybe English isn't your first language and you want to learn how to count in English. First thing we're going to do is we're going to learn how to count from nothing to 100 by ones, then by tens. So here's how we're going to do that. Okay, so I started off and I got some rocks. Why did I get some rocks? We're going to use these rocks to count. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay these rocks in sequence, and then for each rock, I'm going to assign them a symbol like this. So we can come here and we can grab this symbol here. This is 1. Let me move my rocks out of the way a little bit. This is 1. Okay, I have 1 rock. There's 1 here. Now what happens if I grab this rock and then this rock? Well, now I have 2. I have 2 rocks. The symbol we use for 2 is this one. So now I've got 2 rocks. And I'm just going to do the same thing. Okay, rock to rock, right? So we're going to put 3 rocks here. Now I have 3 rocks, and I can count them, right? I can count up to them. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Right? We can just count our way down the rocks. And we can do this all the way up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now there are 4 rocks. So we're going to use this letter here, 4, or this symbol, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 rocks, right? We counted them as we put them down. So what we understand here is that the symbol I use tells me how many things are in that entire set. How many things are in this whole row? So when I go to 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is really useful because when I'm adding later, I can understand that I can add by counting my way through that number set. A lot of people don't think about it, but that's kind of the fundamentals of adding, right? It's not memorization. Some math is memorization, but a lot of these fundamentals, these basics, things like counting, for example, or addition, subtraction, they're just variations on counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we have 7 rocks now, so we're going to put a 7. Just like that, right? So we're going to put a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Now, let's count 8. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I have 8 rocks. Let's line up our rocks nice and neat. We're going to use our symbol for 8 rocks. That's this one right here. Now I have 8 rocks, right? And again, we can see that the number of rocks is increasing for the entire set of rocks, right? Every time I add 1 rock, the whole set of rocks increases, but I can use one symbol to represent all these rocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's line up our rocks nice and pretty, right? So we have 9 rocks here. Okay? So we're going to use the symbol for 9 rocks, this one, just like that. Now, here's what's really interesting. Let me do a cool trick. Let me shortcut this process. Do I have to start counting by 1 every time, right? Do I have to do that every time? Do I have to count 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4? Well, I don't have to do that because I can go from one set of rocks and transfer that value to my next set of rocks. Look, let's copy this entire set. I didn't want them all the way up there. Let's copy, okay? Let's copy this entire set of 9 rocks. Just put them over there, and then let's add the rock at the end. What I've done is I've just counted up one more rock. So I can count all the way through the rocks, or I can start from some other number of rocks, and then I can just count up one more if I want. That's fine. And now we've hit 10 rocks. But here's what happened. Now that I hit 10 rocks, I needed to use a different symbol, right? I'm using what's considered a different place value. And when we count, we use a number system that's called base 10. So we count to 10. One of the reasons that we think we might do that is because you have 10 fingers on your hands, and it makes it very easy to count up to 10. And then it makes it easy to count by tens, right? You might think to yourself, well, man, are we here? We're going to count all the way up to 100 like this? You're going to count 1 to 11, 1 to 12, 1 to 13? Actually, no. We're going to practice, okay? We're going to practice a little bit of a cool trick called skip counting. So when we count up, we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, when I get to the next amount of rocks, okay, so again, I'm going to take my 10 rocks, I'm going to recreate them here, right? But now instead of 10, I'm going to change that number because I'm going to add one more rock. I want to go in here and I want to add another one of these rocks. I'm going to start a new row of rocks. And now instead of 10, I'm going to have 11. Now instead of 10, I have 11. I have 11 rocks now. So what I did is I said, well, I reached 9, and my number system doesn't go any higher than 9 in any one place value. So I'm going to reset this place value to 0 and start a 1 in the next place value. That's called the tens place. And now I have 10 rocks. I can show 10 rocks with these two symbols, but when I want to start my next rock, when I want to put the next rock in, I go to 11, and now I've put another rock here in what's called the ones place. So now I have two columns. I have a tens column and I have a ones column. That ones column can count up. And here's something cool that I can do now. What I can do is, since I know this column is 10 rocks, I can actually go ahead and take all these rocks away and just call this 110 and 1 1, or 1 unit. And now I don't need to use all these different rocks, right? I don't have to use all of these rocks anymore. I can use rocks like this. This rock here can represent 10 units all by itself. So now what I can do is, instead of having all of these individual rocks, let this pile represent 10 rocks and take this away. Now I have 10 rocks plus another rock. That's 11 rocks. And this is how we're going to count. We're going to count this way all the way up to 100. This is what we're going to do. And all we have to learn now is to change the value in the tens place to each of the rest of its values. This is going to be super, super useful for us. So what I can do is, now I can say, all right, no problem. So I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 rocks here, and I need to go again. We're going to count 11, 12, 13. Now, 11 and 12 have special names. 13 doesn't anymore. Now we're in what are called the teens, okay? 11 rocks, 12 rocks, 13 rocks. Now, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So now I'm at 9 in my ones, okay? And I'm going to roll that back over to 0, and then I'm going to increase my tens place by 1. So now I'm at 2, 0. That's 20. Now we can start counting up again. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. 30 is my next place value. So my 9 is the max in my units place. Again, I'm going to roll up, right? Now I have another 10 rocks. So if you can imagine that kind of here we have 10 rocks, right? But then here we have 2 piles of 10 rocks. Now I got 20 rocks. And then here we got 3 piles of 10 rocks. Now I got 10, 20, 30 rocks, right? Now we're going to count again. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. So now we can imagine we have, you betcha, 4 piles of rocks, right? Let's take the 3 piles of rocks we have and then just add one more. We added another pile of rocks. Remember, each pile of rock is 10 rocks, okay? And we're just going to keep counting like this. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. And we can see that there's a regular convention here. 20 and then the unit, 30 and then the unit, 40 and then the unit, 50 and then the unit, right? So regardless of what the digits that you're given are, every individual sort of numeral here is called a digit, okay? Regardless of the digits that you're given, you can use those to create whatever kind of number that you're looking for. So we can count. Right now that I know I'm at 50, I'm going to reuse 50 for my tens place value, and then I'm going to count my unit value. 50 and 1, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. So we see that there's even a pattern in this naming convention, right? 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. That tells me that whenever I hear a T, it's a tens place value, right? 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70. Let's just keep going. 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80. 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90. Now we got 90 rocks, right? Well, hang on. Well, when I got to 9 in my units value, don't I have to roll over? Let's think. I wonder what's going to happen when we get to 9 in my tens place value. Let's find out. 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, and now I've got to roll over my nines place value, right? Which means I've got to increase this value by 1. But hang on, when I roll my nines place up to the next number, I roll it back to what we call 0. 0 is a super important number. We haven't really talked about it. We've been seeing it. We see it here and here and here and here and here and here, right? We're seeing 0 a bunch. And what is 0? It's a really important number. It just means there's nothing there. It's a placeholder number for now. We're going to use it for other things later, but for right now, 0 just tells me that there's nothing there, okay? It tells me that there's nothing in the ones place, but one pile of 10 rocks in the tens place. So when you get to 9, we roll it over to 0, but increase the next value by 1. And so as 9 rolls over to 0, this 9 rolls over to 0, and we add a 1 in the next place value, increase by 1. And that's 100. 100. And from here, counting is super easy. 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. There's lots of hundreds, and they would all take a long time to count to one by one, right? But we don't have to live like this, okay? We don't have to do it that way if we don't want. If we need to count up to a big number like 100, and you don't want to count every individual rock, that's okay. Count piles of rocks at a time. So just like how we did on the last page, just like how we did 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, we can count piles of rocks this way. We can count our piles like this. Check it out. 10. Just start with 10. 10, 20, 30, 40, right? Now let me add another pile of rocks, okay? What is that going to give me? 50. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So now I know that I can count in piles. I can count in groups. I don't have to count one rock at a time all the way up to 100. I can count by tens up to 100 if I want. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And so we can count by these tens all the way up to 100 in a tenth the time. Watch. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Done. We're done. That's all you have to do. And then when we get to bigger numbers, we can count by those place values. That's called skip counting. And in fact, we can skip count any number of places that we want. It's sort of like we're jumping. Imagine that we started here. We're running, okay? We're running a race. Here we go. Right, we're running a race. And we need to run all the way up to 100, right? Imagine that I told you you needed to stop and touch each of 100 flags on the way. So you start at 0 and you run and you touch flag 1 and then you touch flag 2 and then you touch flag 3, and isn't that going to take a long time? But imagine I let another runner only have to whack every 10 flags, right? He only has to run up and tag every 10 flags. He runs all the way here. 10. And then he just runs here. He doesn't have to go through and run back. So we might have to run back and touch 11, and then 12, and then 13, and then 14. Oh no! But imagine he just gets to run down 20, and he gets to just jump those 10 places 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. How cool is that? And that is counting to 100 by ones and by tens. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and hopefully I'll see you the next time.